This love story starts with a kiss and ends with a fork. What happens when love and hunger become the same thing? In 1987, Kathy Acker published a controversial novel called Blood and Guts in high school, a coming-of-age story about a boy named Chad and his experiences in high school. But this isn't your typical teenage drama. This is a Lovecraftian descent into madness and violence. Imagine the salaciousness of He-Man, the weirdness of Eraserhead, and the emotional core of Stand By Me. If that sounds intriguing or horrifying, then let's dig in. I am a huge fan of the strange and unusual, but there are some films, books and TV shows that even I avoid watching or reading. One such work is Kathy Acker's Blood and Guts in High School, because I have heard disturbing things about its content. That is until now. Welcome to my channel where I explore the strange and unusual, and today we are going to talk about what many consider to be the most disgusting book ever written. Before we get into it though, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out and means that I can keep making videos like this one. Thank you so much for your support. It all started when a girl named Maxine mistakenly calls Chad Gorgeous Chad instead of Chad Grotesque. She is immediately drawn to him despite his repellent appearance and creepy demeanor. We quickly learn that Chad has no friends, spends most of his time alone in his basement, and has an unhealthy obsession with his mother. Even though he is clearly disturbed, Maxine is still attracted to him, and she can't help but think about kissing him. One day at school, Maxine finds Chad in the bathroom and confesses her undying love for him. She kisses him passionately, but their moment is interrupted by a girl named Wanda. Wanda and Maxine had been best friends since childhood, but recently their relationship has become strained due to Wanda's growing jealousy over Maxine's affection for Chad. Despite Wanda's obvious discomfort with the situation, Maxine continues to pursue Chad, who reciprocates her affection. To make matters worse, Maxine soon becomes pregnant, and when she tells Chad, he responds by beating her and knocking out one of her teeth. Even Wanda, who disapproves of Chad, is shocked by this display of violence. Later that night, Maxine goes to the bathroom and vomits into the toilet, only to be confronted by a horrifying sight. The fetus she just miscarried is floating in the toilet water. As the story progresses, Chad becomes increasingly violent and unstable. He attacks a classmate, Billie Eilish, simply because he looks at Maxine the wrong way. And when Billie bleeds, Chad becomes infatuated with the blood. Soon after, Chad is arrested for attacking another student, and Maxine is sent to a psychiatric hospital. There, she undergoes electroshock therapy and gives birth to a stillborn baby. Wanda visits her friend in the hospital and confesses that she was secretly in love with Chad, but he never reciprocated her feelings. However, Wanda insists that nothing has changed and that she will always be there for Maxine. The two girls reconcile and Wanda becomes the godmother to Maxine's stillborn child. Maxine and Chad are eventually released from the hospital, and they move to New York City, where they have another child. In the meantime, Wanda becomes increasingly obsessed with Chad and begins stalking him. She takes a job at Chad's father's company in order to be close to him, but is ultimately unsuccessful in her pursuit of romance. Years pass and Maxine and Chad grow apart. Eventually, Chad disappears and Maxine moves to Los Angeles to become a screenwriter. She finds success, but is haunted by nightmares of Chad and her traumatic experiences in high school. Years later, Maxine attends a party in Los Angeles and meets a new man. They have a brief fling, but the man is ultimately revealed to be a stalker who has been following Maxine for years. She is able to escape his clutches and moves to New York City once again. In the Big Apple, Maxine runs into Wanda, who has become a famous rock star. Wanda is still obsessed with Chad and begs Maxine to help her find him. Together, the two women search for Chad, but their efforts are unsuccessful. The story concludes with Maxine attending one of Wanda's concerts. As she watches her former friend perform, Maxine realizes that their lives have come full circle. The concert ends with Wanda screaming Chad's name into the microphone and smashing the guitar. As the crowd cheers, Maxine knows that she will never escape the shadow of her high school romance. Blood and Guts in High School was met with mixed reviews upon its release. Some critics praised Acker's unique writing style and willingness to tackle controversial subject matter, while others condemned the novel as being gratuitously violent and disturbing. The novel's graphic depiction of sexual and violent content caused outrage and controversy, leading to bans and challenges in several public libraries. The main character, Chad Grotesque, is a disturbing character who is portrayed as being violent, manipulative, and abusive towards women. His actions are reprehensible and he is not a sympathetic character in any way. Throughout the novel, Chad is depicted as a symbol of male violence and aggression towards women. His behavior is meant to shock and disturb the reader, and he is not meant to be seen as a positive role model or a symbol of healthy masculinity. Instead, Chad is meant to be seen as a representation of the worst aspects of human nature. The novel's graphic depiction of sexual and violent content is meant to shock and disturb the reader, and it is not meant to be gratuitous or exploitative. Aka was trying to make a statement about the pervasiveness of violence and aggression in society, and she uses graphic imagery to make that point clear. However, I would not recommend this book to anyone who is easily disturbed or offended by graphic content. It is a disturbing and challenging read, and it is not for the faint of heart. There are a few reasons why this novel is considered to be controversial. First, it deals with mature themes such as abuse, violence, and sexuality in a very explicit manner. This can be disturbing and upsetting to some readers, especially those who are not prepared for the graphic descriptions. Second, the novel contains strong language and imagery that can be offensive to some readers. Azar's use of profanity and vulgarity is intentional and serves to shock and disturb the reader, which can be off-putting to some. Third, the novel's portrayal of teenagers can be seen as unrealistic and even disturbing. The characters are often depicted as being hypersexualized and violent, which does not reflect the experiences of most teenagers. Fourth, the novel's ambiguous ending can be frustrating and unsatisfying to some readers. The lack of closure can leave readers feeling unsettled and questioning the purpose of the story. Finally, the novel's challenge to societal norms and expectations can be seen as controversial in itself. Aka's willingness to push boundaries and subvert expectations can be uncomfortable for some readers who may not be open to challenging their own beliefs and values. Overall, Blood and Guts in High School is a challenging and controversial novel that is not for everyone. Its graphic depictions of violence and sexuality, strong language, and disturbing portrayal of teenagers can be off-putting to some readers. Additionally, its ambiguous ending and challenge to societal norms and expectations can also be seen as controversial. However, for those readers who are willing to confront these challenging themes and ideas, the novel can be a powerful and thought-provoking experience. Now I want to hear from you. Have you read this book? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're there, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, check out my podcast, where I talk about all things strange and unusual. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.